Well, hello, supporters of Minneapolis Public Schools. I am here today to talk to you a little bit about what happened at this week's school board meeting, and it was a big one. So, the end of the year, like that December meeting, is usually when we do a lot of financial stuff and a lot of end of year things. This year was no exception. So the first thing that happened was that the school board passed a tax levy. That is a pretty common practice in Minneapolis and in Hennepin County. So the finance department went through the reasons and the how and shared all of that. And so you can expect that to happen. And then next, we heard about the financial forecast, both from a district level and from like kind of the legislative level. Like, how can we ask our elected officials for, of course, more money for public schools in general and all the time? So in that financial forecast, interim superintendent Cox thanked the governor and the lieutenant governor and elected officials for their historic amount of money that they gave to public education. And it was very clear when we got to that pro forma part that without that extra money, that COVID money, we're so far short, about $100 million short in order to run next year's budget. So on top of that conversation, the school board also passed their first policy around beginning the process of school transformation. They've been talking about this for a while. They've been kind of debating about different things, but last night was their first vote on that. And so they talked about the fact that they're going to be looking and starting to do a school survey. We've talked about that before, but last night they voted. So now the superintendent and then the new superintendent coming in will be able to continue that work. And the other thing that it's important for you to know is that the board said that they would be coming forward with multiple policies that they were going to pass in addition to this first sort of gathering the lay of the land of Minneapolis Public Schools policy. So just for you to know about that. And then there was a vote on the new superintendent's contract. Dr. Sales Adams will be joining our district on February 5th. At that time, interim superintendent Cox will become an associate superintendent. Once again, she generously and graciously stepped down and is promised to help us with the transition, which is amazing. So that contract was voted on, and we can welcome Dr. Sales Adams into Minneapolis Public Schools. And then finally, at the end of about a 3-hour meeting, we took some time to say goodbye to the two student representatives that have been serving on the board for Minneapolis Public Schools for this entire year. And it was quite a moving moment, I will say. It was, even though it was a long meeting, it was really beautiful to see. So in the following moments after my commentary, you're going to see some highlights. You're going to see Superintendent Cox thanking the governor for the amount of money. You're going to see Director El-Amin talking a little bit about that school transformation policy. You're going to be seeing a conversation with Director Abdi talking about that superintendent contract. And then you're going to see, brace yourselves, don't miss it. Stay through all of those details because you want to see Student Representative Halima talking about how and what this position of being on the school board and just the ability to be a student in Minneapolis Public Schools, what it meant to her, what it means to her, how she sees our district, how she sees herself in our district. It was one of my favorite moments in the boardroom ever, just to listen to the affirmation. Because listen, we all know public schools have a long way to go. Minneapolis Public Schools has a long way to go, and we all have changes, and we need more money, and all of these things. But to hear a student just affirm what this district has meant to her on such a platform was really beautiful to witness, and a reminder that there's still great things happening in our district every single day and great humans inside of it. So don't forget to watch those recaps. And I'm so glad that you were able to join us to talk about what's happening, stay up to date, and let us know, what do you want to know more about from the school board meetings? Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Chair El-Amin. As we welcome Mr. Jess Downham, our lobbyist, to come forward, I want to begin by again thanking Governor Walz, Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, and the legislature for their support of public education last legislative session. From universal student meals to increases on the formula, to funding for special education services, unemployment insurance for hourly workers, and transportation for students experiencing homelessness. Significant progress was made last year toward the goal of fully funding education. Acknowledging that 2024 is generally not expected to be a significant funding session at the Capitol, I will ask Mr. Downham to review our proposed legislative agenda for the board's consideration and feedback.
Again, this resolution tonight is for us to give approval to start the work. And so, like the superintendent mentioned, I don't know why I think it's dry in here tonight, but my throat is very scratchy. Excuse me. Water all over the place now.
Just throw it at you.
But what I wanted to say again, that this resolution has been intentionally left open and very broad for us to start the process, where we're not naming a school, but we're saying that we will take the opportunity to look at all these different segments as we go through the transformation process. So again, I want to bring us back to Director Ellison's motion, so we can have a little bit of bring that back before us, go through the process, and then have discussion. But this resolution is giving permission for the work to start. It's not a one and done. We are going to, like the superintendent mentioned, there's going to be some changes, there's going to be some adds, there's going to be some addition, but we want to make sure that we are allowing space for the closure, the consolidation, the expansion, for whatever may show up as we have the opportunity to walk through the schools, to look at it from a financial standpoint, from a physical standpoint, from a community standpoint. All this is outlined here in this resolution to kind of guide us as we go forward.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to thank Rochelle Cox for also accepting, staying with us, and I appreciate what you have done. It's not going unnoticed. I also want to kind of thank you, Chair, for executing this contract. When we voted, we authorized you to get it done, and you get it done, and I support 100%.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, maybe I should have taken that minute, but I'm here now. But December 5th this year, I turned 17, and it's been a big shift in my life, and kind of like, I can't say it's a midlife crisis because that's not really a midlife crisis point, but
No way from it.
but in all now of my 17 years of existence, never had I ever got a room stand up for me and clap. And not only that, but I've never had such a strong sense of community. I grew up struggling with my identities, with my race, where I belonged, where I grew up. I struggled with it all, and it was a journey to get where I am today. But being here in MPS and having the privilege to just be in the presence of the amazing leaders of MPS who are working every day to make change for the beautiful students here who deserve it, and so much more. It's such a privilege to just be in the presence, and there is no words in the English dictionary or any other language dictionary to express the amount of gratitude I have to this district, because I never knew how much a district could hold. I thought it was just like a place where people go and people happen to live, but MPS is way more than that. It's a place where you're able to dream and be with community and to grow and to learn and to love, and it's a safe place for a lot of people, and it's become a safe place for me, and I say wholeheartedly I belong here. I had a conversation a while back about what does it mean to belong, and I've been thinking about that ever since, and it is in Minneapolis that I belong, with these people, these change makers, that I belong, with my community I belong, and I will continue dedicating my life to just trying to give back a fraction to the communities that have given so much to me. So I thank you guys so much for just existing and being here and being your true selves, being community, being family, being mothers, being fathers, being sons, being daughters, being grandparents, being teachers, being educators, being admins, being superintendents, being board members, being people. I love it so much, and I love MPS so much. And it's a very bittersweet goodbye, and it's not a goodbye. I'm just off the dais, but you're gonna find me there or there one of these days. You're gonna be like, hey, I remember. Yeah, I'm gonna be yapping up there, but thank you.
Thank
Oh, and one more thing. Free Palestine.
Thank you. Thank you again.